So we have covered many things from the beginning of the semester, skimming and scanning, identifying main ideas and supporting details. And to those who have just entered, week 6, we have covered making inferences and drawing conclusions. So you can refer to the videos available on eCampus here for revision. Previously, I have explained on why we make inferences and also why we draw conclusions. And these things are also in the textbook here. So you should have done the practices from the textbook and also the practices on eCampus. And you have done assessment 1 and assessment 2, so reading comprehensions, and then we have another 2 assessments left, which is the written assessments, argumentative essay and article review assessment. So argumentative essay I will explain this week, and next week I'll talk about the article review assessment, so assessment 3 and assessment 4. The submissions will be in week 12. So this is week 8. Submission for assessment 3 argumentative essay will be week 12 and also week 14. So the draft and the full essay. And article review will be the week after it is explained. And week 7, week 6 and week 7, drawing conclusion, making inferences and drawing conclusions. And week 8, which is this week, another new topic, which is writing the introduction paragraph. So now we are talking about writing. So previously we were talking about reading. So this week, starting from this week, we're going to talk about writing skills. And week 8 is writing the introduction paragraph. So although we have ChatGPT and whatsoever, still we need to learn on how to write a good introduction, what to have in the introduction paragraph, the body paragraph. So in the future, even though we are using ChatGPT and other platforms, we know how to prompt. So you can prompt better, so you can get better results. So that doesn't mean when you have those artificial intelligence platforms, you don't have to learn. So we have to learn so that we can prompt better. We can be a better user of those platforms. But of course, for your assessments, you are not allowed to use AI platforms, because the reasons why we have assessments is because we want to test your understanding. So if you use those artificial intelligence platforms, then how are we testing your intelligence? That means we are testing artificial intelligence, not your own intelligence. Week 8 is from unit 6 of the textbook, page 98. So this is how to write the introduction paragraph. What do we have in the introduction paragraph? First, we have the hook sentence, page 98. So when you write an essay, when you write an article, we call it an essay for our assessment. But if you publish your essay, we can also call it as an article. So the first thing that you have is the introduction paragraph. Next week, we'll talk about the body paragraph and then the conclusion paragraph. So the focus of this week is the introduction paragraph. So the first thing, the first sentence that you have in your introduction paragraph is what we call as page 98, the first step number 1 here, hook sentence or sentence hook. What is this? So it says here, begin your introduction with an attention grabbing statement. So the first sentence of your introduction paragraph must be attention grabbing. So must hook the attention of the audience. Audience means the readers of your essay, or if you are speaking, the audience should be the listener. So you start your presentation, you start your speech, you start your article, your essay with a hook sentence. Why do we call it hook sentence? because we want to hook the attention of the audience. Hook like a fishing hook. So if you have seen, fishing hook um, that you use, you tie the fishing hook to the line of your fishing rod so that you can catch the fish. So you put the bait here. So to hook the fish, when you write, you have hook sentence, the first sentence. So this is the first thing that is very important, where you put interesting, delicious, tempting, bait on the hook. So when you are writing, when you are speaking, you start with something that is interesting as well. So same like the fishing hook, we also have hook sentence or sentence hook. When you are writing an essay, the first sentence of your introduction paragraph. So you have the hook sentence. What is a hook sentence? Whatever it is, one sentence, but it has to be interesting. If it is not interesting, then it is not a hook sentence. So because the purpose is to get people to pay attention, to finish reading your essay. So when you want to, because reading is boring. So many people do not like to read. Even ourselves, we do not like to read, especially academic articles. Storybooks, maybe some people like to read, but when you are talking about something that is academic, argumentative essay, nobody likes to read. Nobody likes to read. Very few people, unless you have to, for the purpose of doing assignment, because you have that problems, you want to understand how to solve the problems, then you do the reading. So to get people to finish reading, to finish listening our presentation, we have to start with something that is interesting. So you can see famous people like Steve Jobs, if you watch the videos on YouTube, when he started his presentation, he would start with an interesting sentence to catch the attention of the audience, of the listeners. So the same goes when you are writing. We create um, an interesting sentence. Page 99, you can see the example. So page 99, you can see the example. It says here, so this is a boring hook sentence. This essay is about climate change. Climate change is a big problem, so it is boring. So you start with something that is more interesting. Climate change has become an undeniable reality, driven by human activities that release greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So it has to be interesting. For example, if let's say you talk about climate change, when you want to start your essay, you don't say climate change is a big topic nowadays. It is a serious problem. So that is boring. So you start with something that is more interesting, something that people have never heard before, but it is true. Do you know that 100 years from today, if we don't take any action on climate change, many countries will go underwater? So climate change, rising of sea levels. So country, there will be a major flooding. Many places will be underwater. So do you know that 100 years from today, if we do nothing about climate change, uh, many places that you can visit today, you cannot visit anymore because they'll be underwater. And this is true. So when you create a hook sentence, it has to be real. It has to be true, not something that you just simply made up. It has to be interesting, but at the same time, it has to be true, because you are not writing a storybook. You are not writing a fictional story. This is academic. Academic means based on facts. So it has to be real. For example, climate change, countries will be underwater. So that is true. If you Google Maldives, 100 years from today will be underwater because of climate change. Um, Maldives sinking. So by 2050, So you see here, by 2050, so this is not even 100 years, 80% of the island could become uninhabitable because underwater, because of climate change. So it has to be real, it has to be interesting. So hook sentence can be a shocking statement, like Maldives just now is a shocking statement. Can be a quotation of famous people, like Albert Einstein, can be scientists, can be celebrities, scientists like Albert Einstein, uh, celebrities like maybe Leonardo DiCaprio or Angelina Jolie. So those people, they are involved with the United Nations, so they have a lot of good quotes. And then, so scientists, celebrities, politicians, like prime ministers, presidents, and then um, freedom fighters like Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi. But when you create the quotation of famous people, it has to be the real quote. But and it has to relate to the topic that you are talking about. So if it is climate change, then climate change. If it is about other things, then the quotation must match the topic of your presentation of your essay. So the first thing that you have in your introduction paragraph is the hook sentence. So back to page 98. The second thing that you have is the background information. So this is, so you pay attention to this lecture. When you write the hook sentence, when people, so you have to imagine, when people read your hook sentence, they want to finish reading your essay. So when you tell ChatGPT in the future, not for your assignment, when you tell ChatGPT, write me an essay, you don't just simply tell ChatGPT, write me an essay. So you inform, you prompt better. You say hook sentence. What kind of hook sentence? Quotation. What kind of hook sentence? Uh, Shocking statement. What kind of hook sentence? Statistics. So those are the things that you can have for the hooks. And so you can prompt better, you can get better results. So that is why we have the class today, this semester, on integrated reading and writing, so we can be more knowledgeable, we can be better user of artificial intelligence. For your assessments, if you use artificial intelligence, marks will be deducted. After the hook sentence, the first sentence of your introduction paragraph, the second thing that you have in your introduction paragraph is the background information. What is the background information? Something that is general. About what? About the topic. When people read your background information, they know what the problem is. They know what the issue is. They know that this is or these are the reasons you are writing this article. So that is background information. So again, when people read your hook sentence or when people listen to your hook sentence, they want to finish reading your essay. They want to finish listening to your presentation or speech. When people read your background information, they know what the problem is, or maybe it is not a problem, it could be an issue, might not be a problem. They know what the issue is or the issues are, and they know that this is or these are the reasons you are writing this article, this essay. So that is background information. Um, what happened? What is the problem? What are the problems? If they are not problems, what are the issues? For example, what is the difference between issues and problems? Uh, for example, COVID-19 vaccine, whether vaccine is safe or not safe, so that is a problem. Some people, they refuse to get vaccines, COVID-19. Some people, they were willing to be vaccinated. So that is a problem because some people agree, some people disagree. So whether vaccine is safe or not safe. So that is a problem that we have. But there could also be topics, issues that are not problems. For example, should we allow 18 years old to vote in the election? So some people agree, some people disagree. Uh, s- Maybe we can agree, maybe we can not agree. It is not really a problem. It is just an issue that people discuss. So that is background information. So number one, in the introduction paragraph, you have the hook sentence. Number two, you have the background information. Number three, you have the thesis statement. Thesis statement is the last sentence. So step number three, page 98. So page 98, step number three. Thesis statement is the last sentence of your introduction paragraph. It can be the last sentence, it can be the last two sentences. Hook sentence, one sentence, can also be two sentences. Background information can be 2, 3, 4 sentences, depending on how many words you have for your essay, for your assessment. If you're writing an article in the future, it doesn't matter, can be as many sentences as you think is appropriate. Thesis statement is the last sentence of your introduction paragraph. Can also be the last two sentences of your introduction paragraph. What is a thesis statement? It is a statement. It is a sentence. What sentence? What statement? A sentence that mentions your thesis, your idea. So when you are writing an article, when you're writing an essay, when you give a presentation, you have many ideas, you have many points. Points number one, point number two, point number three, point number four. So thesis statement is a statement that states your thesis. What are the thesis? The main points, the main ideas. Point number 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, this article is going to explore in detail the um, uh, to explore in detail the side effects of the impacts or the effects of COVID-19 vaccines, including A, B, C, D. So the main points. So we are going to talk about writing argumentative essay. Argumentative essay is when you have agree and disagree. So you have your own stand. So for example, we talk about COVID-19 vaccine. Do you agree or disagree whether it is safe or not safe? So there are hundreds, there are thousands of other topics in our daily lives. So in the past, we have COVID-19 vaccine, even until today. So that is an issue. Voting, 18 years old, should they be allowed to vote in the election? Agree or disagree? So that is argumentative. We argue. What is our stance? Agree or disagree? So you have points that you agree, you have points that you disagree, or you can have both. And should students be allowed to bring smartphones in school, primary school, secondary school? So that is argumentative as well. Is online learning better than physical class? So that is argumentative topic. So you can argue whether you agree or whether you disagree. So in the thesis statement, you can have your stand, whether you agree or disagree, and what are your points. So you can take a look at page 99, the paragraph here. So those with the textbook, I'm going to read here, page 99. Climate, so this one is about climate change. Climate change has become an undeniable reality. So this is the hook sentence. And then you have the background information. The scientific consensus is overwhelmingly clear. The Earth is warming. What happened? Leading to the disastrous uh, consequences for both ecosystem and human societies. All right, so this is the hook sentence. The first sentence, the hook sentence. The second one can also be considered as a hook sentence, can also be considered as the background information. I strongly believe. So this is your thesis statement, your stand. So argumentative essay, you have your stand. Whether you agree or disagree. I strongly believe means you agree. Humans are responsible in accelerating climate change. In this essay, we will explore the causes and impacts. So this is the thesis statement. Point number one, causes and impact of climate change, emphasizing the urgent need of mitigation adaptation strategies. Point number two. And then point number one, number two, point that you agree. And point number three, point that you that disagree. We call it as pro-argument, counter-argument. So argumentative essay, we have pro-argument, we have counter-argument. For example, when I say COVID-19 vaccine is dangerous, so I have my hook sentence, background information, what happened, many people died, how many people, what are the side effects, and then I have my thesis statement. I have my stand. I agree that COVID-19 vaccine is dangerous. And then I have my points in the thesis statement. Point number one, um, because it causes a lot of side effects. And then point number one, in paragraph one, I will explain in detail. Point number two, because it causes a lot of, it causes cancer, for example. I'm not sure, just giving an example. And then point number three, although people say it is safe for young people, but it can cause heart problems. So counter argument. Some point number one, why it is not safe. Point number two, why it is not safe. Point number three, why it is safe. And then you explain, you counter argue. Although people said it is safe, still it is not safe because not many research has been done. So counter argument. So this you can see here, page 99. If you cannot understand what I'm trying to explain here, I'm going to show you some examples later on. So page 100, page 101, page 102. So page 102, you can see here, you have your stand, you have the pro argument, you have the counter argument. So you can see the example here. So later on, you can do the practices from page 103 and also page 104 as mentioned here on eCampus. 103, 104, textbook, task 3, textbook exercise. All right, now I'm going to show you some more example of writing the introduction paragraph. So can you see the screen here? If you cannot see the screen, please let me know. So introduction paragraph only. Mobile phones are essential in schools. Do you agree or disagree? Should we allow students to bring mobile phones or should not? So first sentence, you see it is a hook sentence. Hook sentence can be shocking statement, as I mentioned just now, something that's shocking. People have never heard about it, but it is true. Can be statistics like this one over here. You see statistics percentage. Can also be a question. So you see, although we have statistic, but it is also a question. You ask people, and then can also be quotes of famous people. Did you know that 95% of teenagers bring their mobile phones to school daily, a habit that could revolutionize education or lead to unprecedented distractions? So you ask questions to get the attention, not to get the answers, but to get people to think about it. So that is a hook sentence. Is it interesting? What do you think? You can do more. Maybe you can make it better. Uh, you cannot see. Is it better now?
Okay, it's better now.
Okay. So the first sentence is the hook sentence. It has to be interesting. How do you make it interesting? Use your own creativity. Can you get ChatGPT to help you? There are other platforms as well other than ChatGPT. Yes, you can. Um, but not for your assessment. But I have tried using ChatGPT most of the time, not really that interesting. So you have to read. You go to Google, you read some interesting information, and then you formulate that into a interesting sentence to be the hook sentence. And then after the hook sentence, you have the background information. So this sample is based on the information that we have in the textbook. Background information, when people read, they know what the issue is, they know what the problems is, they know that this is the reason you are writing this article, or if you are speaking, this is the reason you are giving this presentation or speech. Ever since the mid 1980s, so what happened in the past, what happens in the present, why is it a problem? So mobile phones, so we need to have s here. Mobile phones have been quickly moving their way into our everyday life. Years ago, education was a serious business, and there was no mobile phones. No S in classrooms. Nowadays, students have the tendency to bring mobile phones to school. So that is the problem. In the past, no mobile phones, lessons were, uh, people can focus better in the class. Now we have some issues with mobile phones. Even in UMKs, while the lecture is going on, people are looking at their phones. So this is the reason I'm writing this essay. If I am writing this essay, when people read the background information, they know that this is the issue that I have. In the past, okay, now got some issues with mobile phones. Because we are writing an argumentative essay or argumentative article, then you have your own stand or stance, STANCE, or we can also call it as stand, STAND, stand or stance. I strongly believe that the use of mobile phones in school is essential. If you do not want to use I, it is fine. You can use your own sentence. You don't have to say I strongly believe, but you can use your own creativity to create a sentence like, it is believed that the use of, instead of using I, you can use it as well. Or you don't have to say, you can say, you don't even have to say I strongly believe. You can just simply say the use of mobile phones in schools is indeed essential. So that is also a stand by making it more general. So you have your stand and then you have your thesis statement. As it can be used during any emergency. So why is it essential? Why do you agree? Point number one, because you can use it during any emergency at school. So this is point number one. So point number one will be paragraph one, will be explained in paragraph one. And then point number two, and as a great tool, why is it essential? Because you can use it as a great tool for teaching and learning session. Session, sure, we should have as here. As a great tool. Um, so point number two, why you agree. Point number two will be in paragraph two. And then point number three, so we want to be fair. We want to be balanced. We do not just want to be one-sided. We agree and all the points about agreement. We also include a point why we or other people disagree, but we refute, we counter the point. For example, however, allowing students to bring mobile phones to classroom would cause distractions when it rings and vibrates. All right. Um, so this is point number three, the negative part. So the positive part, point number one, number two, the negative part, point number three. Because we say many mobile phones, so we say they ring and vibrate because many mobile phones. Right. So point number three is the opposite point. So we call it as counter. Pro means you agree, counter means you disagree. Maybe not you disagree, maybe other people. In general, they disagree, they say cause distractions. All right. So although you have counter argument, but you want to still agree, you refute. Refute means you go against. For example, cause distractions. So though allowing students to bring mobile phones to school gives certain advantages, um, we have S here, to the students. So this one I got from previous students' assessment, so some of grammar mistakes. Advantages to the students, it may be argued that it would cause distractions. So this is the negative point. Although we have positive points, now we have negative points, cause distractions. Because even a single ring can interrupt the class that is in session. Uh, However, we can still avoid this process. So this is what we call as a refutation. Refute means you kill the point. You argue with the point again. So although some people disagree, they say can cause distractions, but you say, however, we can solve this problem. It is not a problem. So you refute. What is the meaning of refute? You try to prove the statement to be wrong. You disprove. So that is refute. Uh, Although the sound of the phones can cause distractions in the class, but this is not a problem. So you refute. However, there are other ways to avoid this incident from happening in the class. The teacher can warn the students to turn off their phones before starting the lessons in the class, or before class, collect all the phones, and after finish the class, then give back to the students. So although you have the disagreement, the counter argument, the negative point, but you refute the negative point. So this is like a debate. So you give one point, people counter your point and then you refute the point again. If you can understand what I'm trying to say. Um, so that is what you have in the introduction paragraph. Hook sentence, background information, and the thesis statement. What do you have in the thesis statement? Your stance and the points. Pro argument, number one, number two, and counter argument, number three. So this is for your assessment. You have 3 points. In the future, if you're writing your own article, essay, you are giving a presentation in the future, you can have as many points as you think is necessary. So that is how to write the introduction paragraph for argumentative essay. If not an argumentative essay, if it is just an explanation about something, about how to solve flooding, how to reduce the impacts of global warming, then no need to have the stand. The rest is still the same, but you don't have the stand. Because it is an argument, then you have the stand. Other type of essays, same, but you don't have the stand. Other type of essays means academic essays, not narrative essay. Narrative essay, like you explain about your vacations in Penang, your the person that you like the most. So the format is different. So you don't have hook sentence everything. You can just simply write using your own creativity. There are structure as well, but we are talking about academic essay. Argumentative is academic essay. Descriptive is academic essay. So argumentative, because you argue, agree or disagree, then you have the stance. Other essays, you just want to explain, describe something, then you don't have to include the stand. That is the difference. So the focus of today is writing the introduction paragraph. And so when you have your thesis statement, you mention all the points that you have in your thesis statement. Next week, maybe we can watch a video of Steve Jobs when he was giving a presentation introducing the new iPhone uh, many years ago. You can see that he used this structure. He had a hook sentence, background information, and the thesis statement. He mentioned all the points in the thesis statement. And all the points later he explained in detail in the body paragraph. But that was a speech, not an essay. Um, Whatever that you mention in the thesis statement, whatever points that you mention, you have to explain. For example, point number one must be paragraph one. Point number two must be paragraph two. Many people in the past, they have the thesis statement, they have the points, but when we take a look at the paragraph, the points are different from what they mentioned here. Or maybe they mentioned point number one, number two, number three, but if you take a look at paragraph one, it is point number three. It does not match the order, the sequence of the thesis statement. So this is important. We want to make sure the body paragraphs match the points in the thesis statement. And in your thesis statement, you have the points. You mention the points because this is what makes your essay, your presentation clear, easy for people to understand, because that is the purpose. When you use ChatGPT, that is how you inform ChatGPT. So include the points in the thesis statement. As how you learn in the class today. So you can get better results. from using artificial intelligence in the future, not for your assessment. If you have anything to ask about this, just put in the chat box, or you can just unmute the microphone. So that brings us to assignment 3. Assignment 3 is argumentative essay. First, you write the draft with your partner. You write the draft, and the draft you submit in week 12. And then, after you get the feedback from week 13 or week 14, you get the feedback, and then you write the final argumentative essay. So, not the draft anymore, the final version, the complete essay, week 14 or week 15. So why do we talk about the assessment today? Because we are letting you to write the draft from time to time. So after today, you can write the draft, the introduction part, because we have learned the introduction, how to write the introduction paragraph. Next week, we will be learning how to write the body paragraph. Then you can write the draft for the body paragraphs, and then after that the conclusion paragraph, and then after that you submit, get feedbacks, and you combine everything, write the full essay. So this is the template for assignment 3. So that means after today, this week, then you this week you can write the introduction paragraph already. Next week, when we learn about body paragraph, then you can you can add some more to your draft here, draft template, the body paragraphs, and then the conclusion paragraph the week after that, and then you can submit. So that is why we have the assessment this week. So you can do this week, next week, the week after that, week 12, then you submit the complete draft. So once you have submitted the complete draft, upon feedback, then you combine everything. So in point forms, and then you combine everything in paragraph, in sentences, full essay, and then you submit as the final essay. So this is 10%. The draft is 10%, and then the final essay will be 30%. So altogether, it is 40%. So you see here on the campus, 40%. Draft is 10%. Next week, we will talk about assignment 4, which is article review. Um, why so many assignments? Not really so many, it's just that because this assignment we have to mention earlier, because it is a progress, introduction, body paragraph, conclusion paragraph. So that is why we have to talk about it today. But next week we'll talk about another assignment, the article review assignment. So before we take a look at the practices, let us take a look at the assessments first. You can take a look at the instructions. You can get the template from here. So just click on the link here. From the link here, you can see assignment question, instruction, and also the template down here. So click on the link, then you can see the instruction, in which I have already downloaded. So this is the instruction. Influencers. So this is the question for your argumentative essay. Not about COVID vaccine, not about other things. Influencers and content creators have a strong impact on how Gen Z. What is Gen Z? Are you from Gen Z? So we have baby boomers, we have Gen X, we have Gen Y or the millennials, and then we have Gen Z. Those born from the year 2000, can't recall. Are you Gen Z? Gen Z 1997 2012. So that means you belong to this generation. Generation Z. 2013 until 2024. Generation Alpha. 2025, this year until 2039. What generation is that? Generation Beta. This could be your children in the future. So after UMK, if you got married and you have kids, 2020, 2030, 2031, so your kids will be generation beta. Your parents might be Gen X or baby boomers. So your parents. Let us go back to the question. So influencers and content creators have a strong impact on how Gen Z views success, lifestyle, and self-worth. What is self-worth? So you Google that, self-worth. Self-worthy. You think you are good enough as a person. So some argue that this influence is harmful. So the influence from the content creators on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, to what extent do you agree with the statement? So these influencers, these content creators, the influence of these people is harmful or positive or negative? What do you think? Agree or disagree? Or you have both opinions, agree and disagree? So write an argumentative essay of 300 to 350 words, which is just one page or 1.5 page or maybe 2 pages, depending on the spacing, supporting your stance. So first you have to agree or disagree. Include examples from your own personal experience or from the Malaysian context with regards to the topic. Along with your later on, so now you do the draft first. After the draft, you do the full essay. Week 12, after week 12, then you do the full essay. So what do you have in the introduction paragraph? As I mentioned just now, the hook sentence, background information, and the thesis statement. Font Arial 11, spacing 1.5, justified. Submit later when you submit on the campus. When you submit here on the campus, so when you submit to the link here, make sure it is in doc, Microsoft Word format. Now, I forgot to mention how to submit here. So when you submit, you name the file. I will add later. You name the file with the name that I give, name of the class and name of the assignment. I'll put that later on the campus. How marks are given like this. Introduction, two marks. If it is interesting, clear, concise, you have the thesis statement, everything, body paragraph, so you can take a look at the marking rubric over here, how marks are given. So this is for the draft. For the full essay later on. So this is 10 marks only, 10% for the draft of the argumentative essay. Body paragraph, we'll talk about this next week. So this week is just the introduction paragraph. And take a look at the template. Where is the template? It is here as well. Just now I've shown you the template. This one over here. No need to have cover page. Just put your name and your partner's name. The title, based on the question just now, just create your own title. And then use bullets, point forms. Although point forms, but complete sentence. If point forms just one word or two words, then the meaning is not delivered. So you have to create full sentence, although in point forms. So this is the template. Hook sentence, background information, thesis statement. So thesis statement, you have your stand, you have the points, remember. Mm, so thesis statement, you have the stand and then you have the main points. So far, any questions regarding this assessment? The group members, so this is a pair work. I have assigned you with a partner so that no one will be left out. So you can see the list of group members here. If let's say you cannot find the group members, maybe they are not no more in UMK or they have quit, then you can inform me. I will put you in another group. So you can see the list of the group members here. So refer to your own eCampus of your own class if you're from Bacho BCK 15 or BCK 16 or PC 48 or PC 45. So refer to your eCampus for the list of the group members. Right, so this is the argumentative essay. So if you click on the argumentative essay link, you can see the due date is 12 June 2025, which is week 12. And so back to week 8. So take a look at the practices. So there are 3 practices, task 1, task 2, and task 3. Task 3 is from the textbook, page 103 and also page 104. So please complete that. So once you have completed the practices from the textbook, take a look at the answers at the back of the textbook. So this is task 1. And then task 2. So task 1, you click whether it is true or false. Once you click submit, then you can see the correct answers. For task 2, make sure you choose the correct answer. Is this pro argument or counter argument? So choose the correct answer. And task 3. So I think we will, during the Google Meet session, we will take a look at task 3. So you can refer to the textbook page 103, and also page 104. And write your answers in the textbook. So I'm going to share with you in the group. So take a look at the practice 1 and practice 2, and think of the answers. The stand, what is the stance? What is the statement? Um, what is the pro argument number 1, pro argument number 2, and counter argument, point number 3. So that is practice 1. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about it for practice 1 and also practice 2. So I will turn on the speaker, the microphone, and also the camera in a short while. All right, so let us take a look at the answers. So I've shared in the WhatsApp group. So practice 1 here, the impact of social media on mental health. So based on the introduction paragraph, in today's interconnected world, social media platforms have revolutionized the way we communicate, connect, share information. These digital platforms offer unprecedented opportunities. However, so you see, the first sentence is the hook sentence, and then the second sentence, uh, however, as social media until mental health, that is the background information. And then you have the stand, I strongly believe. And then I strongly believe that social media has negatively impacted our mental health because why? Point number 1, reduce productivity and addictive behaviors and impact on real life. So those are the points. Point number 1, point number 2. On the other hand, point number 3 is the counter argument. Many believe that social media creates opportunity. So the stand is, so this is the answer. Stand is, I strongly believe. Statement, what is the statement? Social media has negatively impacted our mental health. So that is the statement. Strongly believe what? What is the statement? Negatively impacted our mental health. Social media. Why? So that is the point. Point number 1. Pro argument. Reduce productivity and addictive behaviors. So point number 1. Point number 2, impact on real life relationships. Point number 2, pro argument. Point number 3 is the counter argument. Creates opportunity for business and entrepreneurs. So that is the counter argument. For practice number 2, you have to write your own thesis statement. So think about it. So you can just simply write points there in your book or on a piece of paper. The hook sentence, think of an interesting hook sentence about artificial intelligence and job market. So artificial intelligence has negatively impacted the job market. What is this? So because of artificial intelligence, maybe some jobs uh, are not relevant anymore. For example, I'm not sure what the job name is. Can't recall. Operator, for example, operator might be less relevant because Uh, People can ask questions and get the answers quickly from artificial intelligence. Let's say you want to know about UMK, you don't have to call and ask that person or message that person. You can just go to the chat box, you chat, the artificial intelligence will generate the answers about UMK in the website, for example. So that means the operator no longer relevant. So if you agree, what are the reasons? If you disagree, what are the reasons? So uh, some jobs becoming not relevant if you agree. If you disagree, what are the reasons? Maybe it create new jobs. Although in a negative part, jobs not relevant, some jobs becoming not relevant. If you take a look at the positive part, it creates more jobs like coding, coder, um, developer, software developer, so becoming more relevant. Although you lose some jobs, but you create some other jobs. So you think about the points. Um, if you agree, if you disagree, you think of the relevant points. So that is for practice 2. Other than textbook practice, task 3 here, of course, you have to do task 1 and task 2 here on eCampus. Once done, it will say done. If not, it will be to do. For textbook practice, once you have done, you click mark as done. So just click that mark as done, then it will be green color for the textbook practice. So far, do you have any questions regarding the assessment or the lesson today? No questions?